Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome back to another edition of the Backyard Sports Talk. I am Reid Jaco,
and I'm Danny Jaco. Good evening.
Welcome back to episode number 7. It's hard to believe that we've made it this far, and I feel like that they've all went pretty well so far, don't you think?
Yeah, I've absolutely enjoyed them. We just need to get a little bit more exposure, get them out a little bit more. That's something that we need to be working on more, but we will.
Right, and I will tell you here, talk more into your mic.
I know, I've got that. I'm bad about moving this microphone.
Anyway, so we got some good NFL news, some UFL news. We got some big MLB news around the Dodgers. Could be not as big as it could be. And then we got some your WWE news. So we'll go ahead and get it started. Dad, if you want to kick us off with some of your NFL news that you've got for us.
Yeah, let's pay a little bit of respect to a couple guys that's hanging it up in the NFL that just kind of decided to. Dolphins 5-time Pro Bowler. Left tackle Teron Armstead is retiring after 12 seasons. And another one that kind of didn't shock me, but kind of shocked me, is Julio Jones is hanging it up. 13 seasons. Most of those was with the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know. He went to Tennessee after that.
He bounced around those last couple years,
yeah,
but
most of his career was in Atlanta.
Yes,
a successful career. I kind of was surprised. That somebody couldn't have made better use of Julio Jones. I don't know his physical conditioning. I really kind of thought that somebody could make a little bit more. Like Armstead, 12 years, what he did, he's probably pretty well beat down. But I would have thought Julio Jones could have had a little bit more success. Somebody could use him, but nobody seemed to really, try to implement him in their system. So, anyway, he's going to retire. I'm sure he'll probably be on the sideline doing something or working for somebody. But wish him and Armstead the best in retirement. I think it just kind of come up out of nowhere in the last week. But anyway, wish them the best and appreciate all the work and play they gave us in the NFL.
So Julio Jones is right now currently 36 years of age. And his last time in the NFL was in 2023 with the Philadelphia Eagles. And back before that, in 2022, he spent a year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then a year before that, in 2021, he spent with the Tennessee Titans. And then from 2020 to 2011, or 2011 to 2020, he spent with Atlanta. And probably my most memorable game for him was that Super Bowl, which would be Super Bowl 49. Atlanta ended up losing that game. Of course, we all know the whole huge comeback, but Julio played really well in that game.
Yes, he did. He was probably, if you had to pick somebody that shined bright for the Falcons, it would have been him. One of them, And I remember when he went to Tennessee, I thought that they would utilize him pretty well there. I guess Vrabel was head coach at the time when he went to Tennessee. And
yes,
he didn't. There wasn't much. I don't know. He didn't fit into the system or something very well. But
they would have been a playoff team in 21 because in 21 and 22 would have been their really good seasons,
right,
in Tennessee.
Well, anyway, we'll move on. Seattle Seahawks is excited to work with Sam Darnold. He's going to fit in, they say. What do you think about that?
So I really like Sam Darnold. I really liked him for when he was drafted by the Carolina Panthers. I think that, of course, anymore, I'll be honest with you, teams like the Carolina Panthers, there's other teams out there that's similar to them, they need to restructure the way that they build their systems up, like Chicago Bears is another team that needs to work on how they build their system up. And I think that was a big problem with Sam Darnold out in Carolina, is he didn't have the greatest system to work under because he played really good in college. He was a good college quarterback, I thought. And they had a lot of high hopes for him, and he just, fell through the cracks. But this year he spent some time up in Minnesota and really, really performed well in Minnesota. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does in Seattle since the departure of I wanted to say Giovanni, but it's Geno Smith. Geno Smith followed his ex-coach to Vegas. Want to say Oakland.
I did too. Had Oakland on the tip of my tongue.
I always refer to them as Oakland.
And I'll do baseball. I will both of them for a few years.
Absolutely. But no, I'm really excited to see what Sam Darnold does up there because I think the Seahawks have a good team. I'm not going to say that they're going to be a 12 game winner, a 13 game winner, a 17-0 game, season. But I definitely see them being contenders for the West because I'll be honest with you, who owns the West right now? Look at the West from this past year and look at it right now. Don't you think the West is pretty well wide open?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's wide open, but I think there's some teams that will step up. I mean, I think the Rams will be good again. I think the Niners will be strong again.
See, I don't see that with the Niners. I see them going the other direction this year.
I think they will.
I see them going backwards because they sold off quite a few pieces earlier in the offseason.
Not much off of Arizona or.
I don't expect much off Arizona.
But you never know about Seattle. I'm not going to see, like you said, a 12-game winner, but I can see them playing 500 football, maybe something like that. It depends on how well Sam Darnold is taken care of, and if they seem all pretty excited about having him there. So that may go well for him.
We've had this conversation.
They may surprise. They may win 10 or 12 games.
We've had this conversation multiple times, but it all comes down to the offensive line.
That's right. Hopefully they're going to build around that. They got a young quarterback now. I don't know the condition of their line, but if they get a good solid line, and he needs a running back. I don't know what they got as far as running back, but I mean a good quarterback is complemented by a good running back, and a good running back is complemented by having a good quarterback.
Absolutely. See who is all in that division? We got San Fran, the Rams, Arizona, and then Seattle. Yeah. Okay. But I still think that division's wide open because, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you don't know what version of Matt Stafford you're going to get.
No.
I mean, he is at that age. Week 1, you could see, I mean, God forbid, what happened to Aaron Rodgers in Week 1 in New York.
Right. That's true.
But I will still stand on this that I think the West is wide open.
I think it is to a degree, but I do believe that if you wanted to call a leader, I think it would be the Rams.
The Rams are probably the top contender, but I'm not counting out Seattle.
No, not because you got a young, energized Sam Darnold, and they're all, pretty wound up with him being there and energized. That's good. I mean, I like to see that. And I'm certainly, like you said, I'm kind of a Sam Darnold fan. I hope he does good.
Absolutely. I would love to just, right around football season is, me. I'm not a drinker. I don't do that scene, but I would like to go to some of these, these big hopping sports bars in these big sports cities and kind of see how the temperature is.
Yeah. That would be pretty interesting
on these teams. Like for example, Seattle, right before the Seahawks start their season in September, I'd like to see how everybody's feeling about the Seahawks this year.
Exactly. And, I think probably they ought to be feeling better about the Seahawks than they have in a few years.
I would be more. I'll be honest with you. This is the most confident I've been about the Seahawks in probably like the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, Sam Darnold, we wish him the best of luck. Talking about the Rams, Sean McVay says that they're going to see a increase in production and usage from it's Atwell. And wide receiver and punt returner, kick returner. McVay says he hasn't done a good enough job of utilizing him.
I respect the fact that the head coach of the Rams coming out and saying that, because there's a lot of coaches that probably wouldn't say that.
No, I agree. No, there's a lot won't that and he's just admitting it, right there that that he's not put him in the game plan as much, and I think he probably will this year. And he's a good young receiver, 25 years old, and I definitely think. And as you had pointed out off air, although he was a second round, so hey, throw him in there and use him.
So I still think, what I mean wide open is I think it's, come week 17, it'll be a Rams Seahawks dogfight for the winner.
Right.
So I mean that's the way I'm looking at that the West going, and I think if, for example, if Sean McVay and the Rams utilize Atwell a little more because they need that flashy player, and Stafford performs well, they do well. Then on the flip side, Darnold performs like he did at his good times up in Minnesota. Then you've got a dogfight up there.
You do. You really do.
And I tell you what, I'm gonna definitely be tuning into those two games that they play each other this year.
Yeah, I think those will be good games. I think it will because the Seahawks is going to be going after the Rams because the Rams are the kind of the top of the pack there. And you see in the NFL it says the top 10 defenders to build around in 2025. Parsons and Myles Garrett were two names that they talked about. Around centers. It's kind of interesting. I didn't get the rest of the names of who it was. I would like to have looked it up, but I thought that was kind of interesting to see that'd be an interesting article. I wish I had more time to went into it, or we could have talked a little bit about it. But I kind of thought it was kind of interesting.
I tell you what, Myles Garrett, they need a trade.
Think it's time for him to go somewhere else, or
that he's getting to the age where I think that it's probably time.
What is he, about 33, 34?
Yeah, and Father Time's not stopping anytime soon.
No.
And while he's good, you could get some good draft capital.
No, that's true. That's true. You also see that the Steelers are going to host Ole Miss quarterback on a pre-draft visit. Jackson Dart.
That is really interesting, and us, if you've been listening to the podcast since the beginning, we've been following the Steelers quarterback saga since basically the beginning, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, I guess, and probably until maybe after the draft, maybe we'll get some more intel. But at the end of the day, say what you want.
Could be Rodgers still.
I'm still saying Rodgers at the end of the day.
I mean, you're hearing a lot of stuff that's not saying that, but they keep talking about it. So as long as they're talking about it, it's alive, I think.
I still think Rodgers will be there because that is a perfect fit.
It is.
There is no other place in the NFL that he could go and he could win right now.
And he's got a defense there that can keep him off the keep him off the field.
Because here's where they really, really, really messed up. They should have went ahead and got the deal. Then in this draft, I don't know the strength of their O-line, but I think they have an okay O-line. It's not the greatest in the world because Russ did struggle last year.
Yes, he did.
But what they could have done is, instead of wasting this pick on a Jackson Dart for,
well, I haven't picked him yet.
I'm just saying, for, say, like this year, because quarterback capital this year is awful. Next year it should be better.
Yeah, you hope it will be.
Then you go out and you focus on your O-line, you build your O-line up. Then next year you draft your QB1. Then maybe Rodgers goes off into the sunset. You never see him again. And, you host him for your 10th anniversary of your Super Bowl.
Yeah, if Rodgers goes there and does good, he plays for him another season. Who knows?
Did you get my hint there, though? Did you get my hint?
No,
there?
I guess I did.
I said you host him for the 10th year anniversary for Super Bowl.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So if you get what I'm feeling, because if he goes and wins somewhere, he's going to retire. He's going to hang up the cleats right then and there. Because he wouldn't.
Well, exactly. That's right. I don't know anything about Jackson Dart. Do you?
No, I'll be honest with you.
Be honest with you.
Of course,
whoever hears of a quarterback from Ole Miss.
Well, Ole Miss is I'll be honest with you. They're known for their baseball program.
Have you heard much about them producing major quarterback quarterback stars? I haven't, but
no,
it's an old university.
No, but
Ole Miss.
I'm not
I'm
I'm
not
not
making
saying
fun of them.
anything about Ole Miss, but like I said, they are known for their baseball program. But I will be curious on how that goes. Did it happen this week or it will happen? Do you know?
I think they're seeing him this coming week. I think. Just a visit, you know. And speaking of the pre-draft visit, the draft begins April 24th. 24th, 25th, and 26th of this month. So, you going to watch the draft?
So I usually try to watch the first night, but then after that, I really don't care.
Watch the early ones.
Right.
Some of them late picks, so can be pretty interesting.
Yeah. I will say, in nearly 400 attempts, Dart had he threw darts. He only had 6 interceptions, 276 completions. That was a completion rate of 69.3%, 4,279 yards, 29 touchdowns.
Boy, man, he did.
That is a very strong, and that would have been that is a senior season. That's a pretty strong season.
I guess you got to. I think hosting's probably a good idea.
You got to host him.
Mike Tomlin's not.
After seeing those stats, because I'd like to know how many Ole Miss quarterbacks have been into the league and actually been successful. So I don't remember much.
Well, I wouldn't make fun of him hosting because Mike Tomlin's not going to do. He's going to do what's right, and that's great numbers right there for sure. You want to give us the UFL scores for the weekend? I didn't get to watch any, and I'm disappointed that I didn't. But
it's been a crazy couple weeks for me. I've been really upset that I haven't been able to sit down and watch UFL. But week number 2 in the UFL, the United Football League, the scores: the Stallions over the Panthers, 21-12. The Showboats over the Defenders. Or the Defenders over the Showboats, rather, 17-12. And the Renegades over the Roughnecks, 11-9. And the Battlehawks over the Bahamas, 26-9.
Those Battlehawks are the best team in the league, seriously.
Yes, the Battlehawks, and I think the Stallions are a close number 2 because they had a strong week 1 as well.
What's wrong with your Houston team?
They're not good. There's no sugarcoating that they're not good. Of course, I'm a Roughnecks fan, but
yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of rooting for the Battlehawks just because, yes, Houston is my sports city, but for the simple fact is I want to see football come back to St. Louis to prove Stan Kroenke wrong.
Right.
That's my whole thing.
I think next week, this is only second week though, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in another week or two, we need to have a little segment on our podcast here talking about what we can find out about how successful it's been so far, the UFL.
Well, I'm also curious, and, maybe we can get some sound bites from this, but when we go visit the Dome at the end of this month,
right,
for the Battlehawks game.
Who's it they're playing?
I believe they are playing the Defenders. They're the Defenders or the Renegades. I'm not for sure. I don't remember who they're playing. Or no, it's the Panthers. It's the Panthers. They're playing the Panthers.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward. I'm looking forward to the crowd too. All right, we've talked about football quite a bit. Let's move on into Major League Baseball, which is hot and heavy right now. We're in the middle of a brand new, not in the middle, but we're starting a brand new season. We got a long way to go, but we're in the middle of season now. Not middle, but you know what I'm saying. The season's going on.
The season is underway. And guess what? Guess who the best team in baseball is right now?
Do tell. I know you want to tell me.
The San Francisco Giants. They are 8-1, and they improved to 8-1 with a walk-off win today. This is a lot of the weekend news. There's a lot of news that has happened this week, but a lot of this is focused on this weekend, just because this was a big weekend. This was the first full weekend. Last weekend was kind of a weird weekend with it being opening weekend. This is the first full weekend of Major League Baseball. So the San Francisco Giants have started the season off to 8-1.
I'm happy for. I like the Giants.
The Dodgers are 9-2. So that's how we get the change of the Giants being the best team in baseball because they have one less loss than the Dodgers. But we will get into the standings later. Victor Robles, plays for the Seattle Mariners, was carted off after hanging on for a stunning catch at Oracle Park in San Francisco. I ended up watching that play. A very devastating play there. Hope and pray for the best that he gets back onto the field very quickly. The Phillies rally back with a thrilling win versus the Dodgers after yielding a 4-run lead. So you always love to see an early comeback victory for 3 or 4 runs, especially in April. And it really pays off if you can see more of that in September, but especially against a team like the Dodgers, it's always good to see that. Back-to-back balks add a wrinkle to a wacky inning at Wrigley Field. Back-to-back balks against the San Diego Padres allow the Cubs to score not one but 2 runs in that inning. Was a weird inning. It was strange because the pitcher ended up being on the windup, and the way he has his windup, it's technically illegal, and it was some weird thing, and they called it on him not once, but ended up being twice. So they got the box there. So then they ended up doing that. So I think the final score ended up being like 6-4, 6-5, somewhere like that. That was today's game. And moving on, so the Bucks down the Yankees on Tommy Pham's walk-off win. So many former Cardinal fans will remember Tommy Pham. I always liked Tommy Pham. He's with the Pittsburgh Pirates now. And he hit a walk-off home run against the New York Yankees. So that's always fun and good to see when the Yankees end up losing. Blake Snell was placed on the 15-day injured list with left shoulder inflammation. Last week we were talking about the potential downage of players for the Dodgers. That's right there. What could happen with the Dodgers is that injury bug. And I know it's only a 15-day stint, but that 15-day stint is, it could last closer to a month.
There's a lot of depth within that roster, ain't there?
I mean, there is depth, but I mean, if you start getting it, this is the first week of the season in April.
That's true.
If you start getting injuries now, what are you gonna do in August and September?
That's very true. Like I said, we have a long way to go. It's just starting. Very young season. What's the Astros record right now?
4-5.
What's the Cardinals?
A lot to none. I was gonna go over that here in a second.
Okay, go ahead.
I was good, but
I wouldn't mind to see you read them all off.
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead and read them all off. So talking about the Astros, they did have a amazing comeback. They scored 8 unanswered runs to shake the Twinkies, and ended up coming back and winning that ball game. That was a very stunning win for the against the Twinkies, and that was very good to see. The commentator actually referenced the Cougars game for the previous night, which I thought was kind of cool, and we was able to see a good comeback. So, like I said about previously, with the Phillies, seeing a comeback victory is always good to have and win and do that. So, and then you have Spencer Torkelson, who said we're never out of it when the Detroit Tigers swept the Chicago White Sox. Of course, it's not surprising that the White Sox were swept, but I'm telling you, the Detroit Tigers are far from out of it. Of course, nobody's out of it. It's the first week of the season, but you understand what I'm saying, Dad. Not saying that they're out of it, but don't count them out that they could be that team to win that division.
Right. No, you won't count nobody out. That's for sure.
And I'm not saying that like they're counted out, like they're but like don't count them out like that they can't win, because I seriously think that they can win that division, because honestly that division kind of wide open.
Before you read the scores, And no, this will make fun here, but be serious. What does the Cardinals need to do to get them?
So in the short term, I'll be completely honest with you, if they need to trade Nolan Arenado. Nolan Arenado has got off to a heck of a start, and I understand that it's going to be painful to see him go. But if you could get some capital out of him right now, while his capital is up,
The stock's high, so sell.
that is what you need.
What do they need to? What do they need to get with that profit?
Arms.
Arms. Is that their main problem?
Yes, their bullpen is terrible, terrible. And another thing that wouldn't hurt would probably be another bat or a glove. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. They have a lot of weaknesses, don't they?
I mean, it's not a lot of it's just minor stuff.
There's enough to keep them from winning many games.
I mean, they started off on a hot hand. We'll start off in the Central. I mean, so that I believe this game here just ended. I'm not sure. Maybe no, maybe it didn't. No, it's still going on. So we'll factor in tonight's game. But so we'll start in the.
Where are they at right now? What inning?
I think it's like should have been in the eight. It may have just been over, but my stuff may not be technically done up yet. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's over. But yeah, my standings here is not updated yet. Oh, no, they didn't update yet. But we'll go through and then I can figure it out because it's just those two teams. All right, we'll start in the National League East. So the National League East goes the Phillies at 7-2 in first place. The New York Mets at 6-3 in second place. The Miami Marlins at 5-4.
Wow.
In third place. In fourth place, we have the Washington Nationals at 3-6. And in last place, filling up the caboose, is the Atlanta Braves at 1-8. And I have not yet to holler at our buddy Larry and ask him what is wrong with his Braves.
What in the world is wrong with the Braves?
And I reference that because I'm going to send him this soundbite and ask him what is wrong with these Braves.
No, it's early season. They'll get their problems worked out, hopefully. But, man, they got something going on.
The National League Central goes the Cubs in first place at 7-5. The Milwaukee Brewers at 5-5. The St. Louis Cardinals at 4-5. The Cincinnati Reds at 3-7. And the Pittsburgh Pirates at 3-7.
Don't you think that Milwaukee's probably going to be the leader of that division? Then we'll see at Cincinnati. They got a new manager. There's a new sheriff in town in Cincinnati.
Chicago's really got off to a really good start, though. I mean,
Chicago spent some money this year too, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, not really spent some money that they traded for Kyle Tucker, they traded for Ryan Presley. They made meaningful moves,
right?
So in the National League West, we have the San Francisco Giants that we mentioned before at 8-1. The Los Angeles Dodgers at 9-2. The San Diego Padres at 8-2. The Arizona Diamondbacks at 5-5. Filling up last place at 2-7 is the Colorado Rockies. Moving on to the American League. So the American League East goes the New York Yankees at 6-3. Second place is the Boston Red Sox at 6-4. The Toronto Blue Jays at 5-5. The Tampa Bay Rays at 4-5. And the Baltimore Orioles at 4-6. The Central goes the Detroit Tigers at 5-4. The Kansas City Royals at 4-5. The Cleveland Guardians at 3-6, the Minnesota Twins at 3-6, and filling up last place is the Chicago White Sox at 2-7. Moving on to the West, which is kind of surprising me, but you know how the first week of the season goes. All these things can change.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
The Texas Rangers is filling up first place with 8-2. The Los Angeles Angels at second place at 6-3. The Houston Astros at 4-5. The Athletics at 4-6. And filling up the last place is the Seattle Mariners at 3-7.
Okay. Well, got a lot of baseball to go. A lot of things can happen. And will. And will happen. Are we ready to move on to a little bit of wrestling news?
Yeah, just one last thing. Yeah, talking about the baseball stuff. Yeah, oh yeah, all that can flip by next week. I mean, Cardinals could go on a 5 game win streak, which I don't think that can happen. The Astros can go on a 5 game win streak. The White Sox could go on a 5 game win streak. The Yankees could go on a 5 game losing streak. You never know this time of year. I don't really start really caring about the standings and everything until come July 1, because when July 1 hits, that's when everybody's putting all their star players on the trading blocks, because by then you know the kind of direction every your team's going for the season, and you know that you're almost halfway through the season, so you've kind of got a good idea of what's going to happen with your team and whatnot. So that's when I really start caring about it. But right now, I don't really care about the standings. I mean, we're just playing baseball. We're just getting started in week 1.
That's true, and it's, hey, that's why they play it, so we can follow it. But
Absolutely. So you want to take the? So I did not get a chance to watch Raw this week, but you did. So what did you think of Raw?
well, it was again. You had John Cena and Cody had a segment on there, and a lot of language going back and forth to each other. And finally, Cena took a swing at Cody, and Cody did the crossroads on him in the middle of the ring. And I was kind of surprised to see that happen. And they all ran out, to make sure it didn't happen again. But Cena was out. I don't think Cena thought Cena was trying to get a cheap shot in on him. I'm surprised that they even swung, but he did, and Cody got him in the crossroads. It was a pretty good segment, but the one that was probably the worse was what happened to Jay Uso with what's his name, the champion.
My man Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther messed him up bad. Did you see his pictures?
No, I
It
didn't
was
see the
bloodbath.
picture. Oh, really?
You need to pull it up and look at it. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, he was a bloodbath. They basically carried Jay out on a stretcher, I believe, and so it was pretty rough. It was pretty bad. Gunther is on top right now. I think Gunther will win it at WrestleMania 2. That's my source. I think I had that in here about Gunther, didn't I? I don't know why I'm not. Jey so I'm not seeing it in my. Oh yeah, brutal match. So yeah, suffering in brutal match, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Now
I can't find any pictures on it right now. I'll look after the.
they talked about Kevin Owens being hurt, and I don't know. I should have quoted who said this, but they were talking about they didn't know if it was a shoot or if it was work. I'm going to think it may be a work because they're still scheduled.
Now, what do you mean by a work or a shoot?
Okay, a shoot's real.
Okay, okay, I'm still fairly new to
Right.
wrestling with the wrestling
If
terms.
it's a
So
shoot, it's real life. If it's a work, it's
okay,
kayfabe.
gotcha.
You know what kayfabe is?
Like fabricated.
Yeah, that's the name they call it. It's a work.
Okay, I got you.
But if it's shoot, it's something real.
But yeah, I do think it's probably a work because, well, I mean, as far as I know, that the Orton and Owens match is still on for night 1.
As far as I know, it is. Yeah. Okay, we got the matches down for part of the matches on night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. This is what sources have told WrestleVotes. If you want to read it off there.
All right, so
this is not nobody. This isn't written in stone, but this is what we're hearing.
So we're hearing rumblings. This one is a confirmed, but Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair going up for the women's championship. Gunther and Jey Uso, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, and then the triple threat of CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, which I'm really excited. This is going to be a great night 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a good WrestleMania. It really
is.
Absolutely. They really got it built up good. It's going to be really good.
Night number 2 goes, AJ Styles and Logan Paul.
I think that will be a good match.
This is news to me. I'm excited about that.
I think that'll be a good match. I was looking at that today.
Then Cody Rhodes and John Cena, and then Io Sky, Bianca, and Rhea for a triple threat. Now, I think this triple threat is gonna happen though, right? Like, this is not just rambling or rumblings. I think this is actually.
It's not confirmed. Let's put it that way.
Okay, it's not confirmed.
No, it's not confirmed. This is stuff that information that WrestleVotes has got a hold of, but they believe it to be true, but it's not confirmed by WWE. So until WWE actually says it, confirms it, it's not confirmed. And then Guso, or Uso, we said Gunther and Uso will be in that. That'll be interesting to see after Monday night.
Okay, so on the now this you know how Wikipedia is, but anymore you can't hardly put anything on Wikipedia unless you have sources. But here's what we got on Wikipedia so far on unconfirmed nights. So we have the Roman Reigns, Punk, and Rollins being night 1, and then Cody Rhodes and John Cena being night 2. But the ones that we don't have is Stratton and Flair, Gunther and Jey Uso. This is only showing Io Sky and Bianca Belair, but I still think Rhea's gonna be in that match. I still will believe that. AJ Styles and Logan Paul. Now, I did hear this. Or not Logan, but LA Knight and Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. I did hear that last week.
Okay.
So that is a thing. And then My Girl Liv and Raquel Rodriguez versus the gauntlet match winner. So I guess they're having a gauntlet match tournament or something.
Hey, I didn't get to watch it.
And then, just 1 second. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to finish this.
Sorry about that.
And then the last one is the Jade Cargill versus Naomi, which I think is going to be a good one too.
Yes. Well, there's already been some heat going on between those two.
Right.
But anyway, I didn't watch it Friday night. I didn't get to watch it, but there was something about Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte that had a promo, and apparently they went way off script.
Yeah, I heard that. Like the WWE YouTube even deleted part of their
apparently got pretty
part of their stuff.
Yeah, I need to go back and try to watch it
if you can, because apparently like they've been pulling it off everywhere.
I don't know what was said. I just didn't get the opportunity to watch it. I wish I had have.
I don't know. They were going back and forth about something, and Stratton went woo, made famous by Rick.
Mm-hmm.
And stormed out of the ring, and I don't know if she was talking about, if Charlotte was talking about maybe Tiffany's husband, boyfriend, or whatever, but she goes, is that why XYZ is in my DMs?
Oh, really? Well, Charlotte and her husband's getting divorced.
Right. Well, and I think rumor has it she's already got her new man.
Oh, really? Who?
I don't know. I saw a picture of them on X, formerly known as Twitter, here the other day. I don't recall seeing the name, but
I don't know what I thought. I'm surprised actually that happened with her. Manny, who was his really name, but that
Andrade.
Yeah, I think they called him Manny. But hey, that's show business.
Well, I mean, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We just see what's on the television.
It happens in real life, so it happens everywhere else too. That's about all I've got this week from wrestling. Tomorrow night is Raw. I think definitely this is the last Raw. Is this the last Raw for WrestleMania? If it is,
no. We have one more round because WrestleMania is the 19th and 20th. So we'll have this week of Raw and SmackDown, and then next week, and then
we really need to try to get both Raw and SmackDown watched before our podcast because it's really heating up.
Yes, I should be able to try to. I'm gonna try to watch that tomorrow night. Maybe
we can watch some of SmackDown together, possibly Friday. See what happens.
Yeah, I'd really like to just go ahead and watch that because it's really heating up right now. Good things are happening. Good things are happening in the sports world. We're going to take a 180 turn really quick, moving on from the normal sports we talked about, but the NCAA tournament is in full swing with the national championship coming to an end tomorrow night with the actual championship game. Houston and Florida will play. Houston took off Duke last night by coming back from a huge deficit late and ended up winning that ball game. That was a fabulous ball game, well coached team by Kelvin Sampson, and good performances by everybody on that team. Um, happy to see that. I've been a long time Houston Cougars fan, going back from when they started their run back right before the pandemic, and I've been following them ever since. So I'm really excited about that. College baseball's in full swing, college softball's in full swing. So, a lot of college sports. If you're into college sports, that can be found a lot on like ESPN.com. There's that. High school baseball's in full swing this time of year. It's a spring weather. Of course, probably most of the Midwest is probably being rained out this week. Um, but that's all I've got this week. So I mean, it's probably a fairly short podcast.
Not bad.
But we appreciate everybody who has listened, and we hope you enjoy it. And if you have any ideas for us, please reach out to us. We are always open for ideas. So we are looking forward to that. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but we have some events coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Next Monday, we're gonna miss Raw. We are going to a Astros and Cardinal game,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end of the month, we are going to a Battlehawks game.
I'm certainly looking forward to that.
Yes. And then in May, we are going to WWE Backlash.
So we're trying to cover some things just for our podcast, and be there, and we'll talk about some things from the live side of things.
Not only is it a good sporting event, we are also going to take different notes and things because, for example, if you guys, if there's somebody who's listening here that's never been to the Dome, wants to go to the Dome, well, at the end of the month, we can tell you our experiences from the Dome.
Yes, I've been there one time, a long time ago. I liked the Dome. It gets bashed a lot, but I liked it. But it's been there a long time. This kind of refreshed me on it. But I'm just really looking forward to seeing this right now. And things with the NFL for the podcast a little bit slow right now. The draft is getting ready to pick things up, but the UFL and MLB is hot right now.
Yes.
And so is WWE. I mentioned anything about AEW this week, but we never talk about AEW a lot.
I don't watch AEW. I will fully stand behind Jim Cornette on that. They have no booking.
Yeah, that's true. It's very, they got a lot of talent. It's a shame it's not done better. But
Khan cannot book worth anything, and it's a private company. And I think Jim Cornette had said this, but you're not going to know how much money he loses each week because it's a private company. But I'd be curious to see.
And like Dutch Mantell says, you can just throw matches out there, but they don't mean nothing if there's not a story behind it.
Right.
You've got to have a story behind it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if that organization or promotion would still be there if it wasn't for John Moxley or Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, and Jericho. They kind of carry it.
Because I think those two pretty much carry that promotion. Yeah. Because, I mean, you never really see, nothing really pops up on, any ESPN, any, big sporting news. All this happened on AEW this week. Shoot, after Monday night and Friday night, my phone is blowing up when it comes to WWE stuff.
And the thing with it is, AEW, whether you like them or not, they're in a situation where if Khan would get a writing team in there, they can do things.
Well, I've already told you who I think they need to bring in. They need to bring in my man Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, they need to bring in a few guys, and they need to get a creative team, get some storylines going on, and just don't throw random matches out there that have no meaning behind them.
And I tell you what, instead of your buddy JR just calling one shot or calling one match a night or whatever, shoot, put him in the writing booth. He's been around wrestling long enough. I'm sure he can write better than Khan.
He did all the booking on WWE for the house shows.
I guarantee he could do a better job than Khan's doing.
Yeah, it's just he needs to step aside. He can still be involved in it, but he needs to get some help in there.
And I'm not saying that he can't or shouldn't be involved because it's his promotion. I fully support that.
Right. But get some help in there and make something happen.
But what are his ratings compared to WWE? Oh. Okay. All right, people, there we go. Next week we're gonna compare ratings for WWE and AEW for the last year.
Okay, we'll do that.
That's gonna be one of our segments next week.
AEW is fortunate they've actually got some TV shows.
Right,
they really are.
Right, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do some homework this week, and I'm gonna pull it out for we're just gonna keep in mind it's over the last year because I think WWE has had phenomenal stuff over the last year.
They've had a great year. WWE has had a great year.
Right.
Hunter's done a spectacular job. Yes. My hat's off to Hunter. He's done a wonderful job.
So, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna figure that out because I'm curious to see the battle because it's not Monday Night Wars like it was in the 90s.
No, it's not even close to a war.
No.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up, and we're going to hold that to you on the ratings for next week, and that'll be an interesting little segment. So.
Yes, I'm kind of excited that I brought that up, but no. So, like I said, if you have anything else for us, just holler at us. I am on TikTok. We have a Instagram page. Our email is Backyard Sports Talk at Backyard Sports Talk 2025 or something. I'll put it in the link below.
It's been the link.
I'll put it the link below because I don't remember the exact name of it. But I'll put our email. So like I said, if you have any questions, concerns, or anything that you have, go ahead and holler at us, and we'll get back at you. We always enjoy talking to fans. So like I said, you all have a good week and try to watch as much sports as you can.
And stay safe, and God bless all. We'll talk to you next week.